Hi, my name is Riley Allen. This is my review of Season 2, Episode 12 of Gravity Falls, titled A Tale of Two Stans. Picking off exactly where the last episode left off, we got Stanford, who's revealed to actually be Stanley, recounting the tale of him and his twin brother, Stanford, the real Stanford. So first off, their parents had twins and decided to name them both Stan, so that's knowledge. Second, we finally understand why Stan didn't believe Gideon when he said he was a psychic, because Gideon called him Stanford, and if he knew Stan was a real psychic, he could have called Stan Stanley. So we get the twins' backstory, how Ford was the smart one, with 6 fingers. They didn't really have friends. Stanley was the one with brawn. So they find this abandoned shipwreck of a sailboat. They make her, redo her, call it the Stano War, and they're gonna go travel the world, find treasure and stuff, and have adventures. Their father ain't nothing. He kind of sucks. And we find out that their mother is basically the one where Stan gets all his, con man attitude from. So they grow up and, they're friends, and eventually they're teenagers. And they get called to the principal's office, where the principal tells Stanford, or Ford, the smart twin, that he's very smart. He tells the parents, you have a genius son who's gonna go places, and the other one who's sitting outside. So he tells Ford that there's gonna be college scouts or whatever, coming to the school tomorrow to see his project that he made for the science fair. And Stanley is told all this, and, he doesn't like that, I guess, in a way, because he's gonna lose his brother, the only person who really understands him. So he goes to, the science fair place, the school, or whatever, and kind of vents and lightly taps the table that Ford's project is on, and it's destroyed. That is not on Stanley. Well, that's on Ford for making a shoddy piece of equipment. And also, if he built it, he could build it again. I mean, I'm sure with a high school budget, he did not make something with so rare materials that it can never be replicated. So I don't know what that was the big problem. I guess I don't know. And also later on, he says Stan cost him his dream college, but he knew about this college for all of 5 minutes? I guess, years of bitterness. So then Stanley's kicked out and goes on a life of becoming a con man, while Ford goes to this backups college, which is called backups school, whatever, university. And he meets Ford McGucket. Ford decides to study mysteries and abnormalities due to his 6 fingers. So he goes to Gravity Falls to study all this. He creates a portal to interdimensions with Ford, and as they're testing it, McGucket flies through the portal and comes out, and this is what makes him decide to build and create the Society of the Blind Eye, to forget what he saw. And also this really does explain why it was more known that Gravity Falls was someplace for abnormalities before McGucket, because people would talk about what they seen. I seen the Minotaurs in the woods, or I saw this gnome dude rummaging through my garbage. People would talk about that. It gained traction. So And I'm sure before the Forget-O-Nator or whatever, people were talking about the Gobblewonker like they talk about Loch Ness. And then, you know, Ford calls Stanley and hands him the journal so he can go. And Stan, you know, he come all the way. He thought he was gonna get his brother back. It makes him mad. So he attempts to burn the journal, which, I mean, that would, I don't understand. But, like, Ford's, you know, worried about the knowledge, and I'm just like, dude, you only need to burn one page. And this is the thing. All Ford really had to do was rip out the pages of the journals that had the information to build the rays and burn them. That's all he really needed to do. Unless, you know, there's things on the pages, other pages. But he didn't need to go through all that to hide all 3 journals. Just rip the pages out, burn them, be done with it. So him and Stan get in a fight, and Stan kind of gets branded by this thing on the machine. Burning thing on the machine, and, you know, which harkens back to the short they made called Stan's Tattoo. That was Stan's Tattoo. It's not a tattoo, it's a brand. Or like a burn mark. So they start fighting again, and Ford gets sucked into the portal, and Stan makes it his life mission to fix up the machine and return his brother. He ends up starting the Mystery Shack because he was broke. He lost all his money, you know? And this is also how Lazy Susan got her lazy eye. One of Ford's inventions or Nator's, you know, malfunctioned, hit her in the eye, and lazy eye. It ended with Ford using the Forgetful Ray to make all the agents forget, and him telling Stan that he's got to pack up and leave at the end of the summer. And it ends with Dipper and Mabel, you know, asking if they're going to become like them. Dipper says, nah. Well, Mabel kind of, you know, stays up awake thinking about it. Overall, this was, again, a really great episode. 2 back-to-back banger episodes. This was another 10 out of 10. I got no critiques, nothing. I loved it. 10 out of 10. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.